My name is David Word. I'm studying manufacturing engineering with a minor in math and a minor in military science. I grew up working in a machine shop with my dad, and I knew I needed more of that hands-on shop experience, working on things, tinkering with things. And so somebody suggested manufacturing engineering to me, and it just sounded like a really good idea. So I tried it out and fell in love. I knew I wanted to be in the military, and so I started looking at options for military and school and scholarships and things like that. I found the Army ROTC scholarship, and that's just kind of been part of my life the whole time I've been here. I never really saw myself going through ROTC growing up, but I knew I wanted to be in the military. I also knew I wanted a degree, and so they just kind of seem to go hand in hand. And the Baja team is one of the club teams here on campus where the whole premise behind the competition is it's a single seat off-road vehicle that you put through different tests, acceleration tests, maneuverability, hill climb, rock crawl, things like that. This year for Capstone, we are remaking the transmission for the vehicle in hopes that the club will then be able to take the car and do better at competition. That's kind of the end goal. I think the most valuable thing I've learned at BYU is the relationship between the gospel and the secular side of things, like how we can relate what we're learning in the classroom to what Heavenly Father wants us to learn. I think that is really special about BYU. I think that there are very few universities around the world where you get that kind of experience. And I think that although it's not, a very technical thing that I've learned, I think it's been really important for my growth as a student. Some advice I give to people starting in engineering would be to, number one, try lots of different clubs and activities. You don't have to become a full-fledged member of any club. You can kind of put a little bit effort here and there, and I would say to do that just because you can get to know kind of what you like, what you want to get out of your college experience. And then additionally, don't get locked in on a major. Like I was one of many who I know who've switched between different disciplines within engineering, and I think that there's a lot of value to finding what you actually want to learn and going towards that path. Rather than just picking a major and sticking with it and just not having a very great time with it.